How you doing, everyone? It's Kevin. I'm back with another video here. I'm gonna just show you guys a little bit about how to test a receptacle, and I'm gonna teach you hopefully I can teach you just a little bit about a receptacle. In our house, every so often a receptacle in the wall will go bad, and then we have to call an electrician in to change it. And then you still don't know whether he put it in right. So this little guy right here is used to test it and to see if your receptacle was put in correctly. And this is made by Southwire. I picked this up at Lowe's, just a few dollars. And I basically got this when I was building the box trailer camper, just to make sure all of the outlets that we put in there, which wasn't many, but they were wired up correctly. And all you have to do to check it is to plug it in. You plug it in, and these lights down here will light up. And as you can see here on the tester, you can see there's open ground, open neutral, open hot, hot and ground reverse, and hot and neutral reverse. And then right at the very bottom, the two yellow ones on the right side, if they're both lit up, it's correct. It's pretty simple, but I think a lot of people don't know what it means when you have an open ground, open neutral, or open hot. And that's what I'm going to show you today. So, when you look at your wire that's inside of your box where you get your receptacle from, you have a black wire, a bare wire, a bare copper wire, and a white one. This black one is your hot, this copper one is your ground, and this white one is your neutral. So if this thing lights up and just the center light is on, that means that the ground is not hooked up. So that means this one's not hooked up. But if you look at it and it says open neutral, that means these two are hooked up and this one's not hooked up. And if you have no lights at all, that means this one's not hooked up, or possibly none of them's hooked up. So you'd have to pull it apart and look inside there to make sure. Now, the two you really have to worry about is the main ones are the hot and ground reverse, like this one here and this one reversed. Or if you have the neutral in the neutral here and the ground or in the hot reversed. Those are the two you really have to worry about. Now this tester here also will test GFCI boxes too, which would be in your bathroom, anything around water, any of the boxes you have like that. Now one thing, let me see if I need to get you guys in here closer. I want to show you guys, when you look at your receptacle, I'm going to set this off to the side. When you look at the receptacle, you're going to notice these wires are darker. You can see they're darker. They almost look like a brass color. And these wires are white, or these bolts are kind of white color. They're a lighter color than these over here. So that's going to tell you that your hot wire, which is this black one, is going to go onto here. And then the light colored screws on this side is going to tell you the light colored wire is going to go on that one. And then green, obviously green ground, is going to be your solid copper wire. like I said, when you look at the box, it's pretty self-explanatory. Dark wire on the dark screw, light wire on the light screw, green wire on the ground, bare wire on the ground. So green and ground kind of rhyme pretty good, so we'll say green, ground. Let's see here. Now, anytime I'm wiring a box and I want to put the wire on, that's why I kind of curl this one up on the end. You don't want to wrap these wires all the way around. You want to try to get them about 3/4 of the way, or but just don't make them touch. They don't have to touch there. And surely, I personally, now this is just my opinion, I get them around there as far as I can, but I don't want a lot of wire showing. Now, like when you do your hot wire, let's say we're gonna put our hot wire on this thing, and this is not the way to do it, but I'm going to show you. Let's say we got too much wire exposed here, and we took it, and always turn these to the right because it's always righty-tighty, so you turn them to the right. Okay, if we hook that onto our hot wire, we have too much of this wire exposed here, because there's always a chance when that is tightened up and it lays over the back side, and then for some reason we push it back in there and that ground hits it, that's not going to be good. So when you're going to do these and you're going to put that wire on there, what I do is about 5/8 of this wire. I strip down about 5/8 of that wire, which is probably between 1/2 inch and 5/8. And then I will take the wire, curl it around, and then I'll hook it in there. And if you could see, you don't have that bare wire hanging down below your receptacle, because there's always a chance that when you're pushing these back in the box, you might short that out. So the least amount of wire strippage, the better. And don't wrap the wire all the way around. Just go as far as you can get it, and then tighten it down and give it a good snug, because if anything's loose, it could cause a short. Now, if you're mounting this box in a plastic box, inside of a plastic box, I'm talking about the box that's in the wall, you just have to hook up the one ground. You hook it up to here, unless this is going to another plug too, and that's the reason why you have two of these. You'll have one outlet coming over, you'll have power coming into this one, and then you hook two wires onto this side, and you go over to your next outlet, and then you can keep going so many outlets after this one. So it's kind of like a train, and you just hook one up, and then you hook another one up, and then you hook another one up, and that's how you do it. Now there is restrictions on how many of these you can put on one, say, breaker. So you'll have to make sure you know that code, or however, what you're going to have to look up for that. But I only usually put about 3 on mine, depending on what they're going to run. 3, possibly 4. So what I was saying is, if you have a plastic box, you only have to hook one of these up to this. But now if you have a metal box, you'll have this one, and then you'll have a little pigtail on there, and it'll go to your box, and then one will go to this. So you want to ground your metal boxes, but your plastic boxes don't have to be grounded. There is another thing I wanted to tell you. These receptacles, this is a 15 amp receptacle, and you can get them in 20 amp, which is better because they're a little heavier. They're made for maybe a little more juice. And then your wire, if you're going to be wiring up any receptacles, do yourself a favor and get some 12-2 wire. I don't really like using 14-2 for anything other than, say, maybe some LED lights or something. But I wouldn't recommend using any 14-2 wire. Now, on the back of this box, you can see here, and these holes, some people use them just to, what you do with them is, if this was from 14-2 wire, you have your dark wires here, your light wires here, your hot and your neutral, and then you could shove that wire right down inside there, and as you could see, the 12-2 doesn't fit in there. And to me, that's just a shortcut for somebody that's lazy and don't want to bend a piece of wire around like this. They want to save time. Instead of bending it around like this, they'll shove it down in here, and that's what they got. But I'm not cool with that. I want to use these wires. I want to make sure I use all the wires that's, you know, the bolts that's in there. Don't think you're going to save a little time. It might cost you money in the long run. I'm not crazy about those little pins in there. So I can only show you really a couple things about this thing here, this tester. And one of them is the correct way to wire, because that's all I have. So I'll show you this thing plugged into a regular outlet and show you how it works. Alright, I just have a light strip back here in the back, and I can just plug it in here and you'll see the lights come on, which both of the top lights are on. So you can see they're both on, so that means it's wired up correctly. Okay, we're in the washroom here, and you can see there's a GFCI box right here, and we'll plug it into here and show you what happens. It's wired up correctly. Now we're going to just test and see if this box is working correctly, and all we have to do is push the button. You should hear a snap. You heard the snap. You see the little light come on, so that means that our outlet is working properly. Well, I hope that helped some of you guys out just to understand just a little bit about the receptacle and the tester you can get. Now, if you ever have somebody in there and they're wiring up a bunch of outlets in your house and you want to test them, well, go down to your hardware store or Lowe's or Home Depot, or just about anybody have these. Pick you up one and you'll be able to test all the receptacles on your own, and you know this thing should be right. So I'd like to tell everybody thanks for watching my video. Don't forget to subscribe, leave me thumbs up, thumbs down, or comment if you'd like. Till next time.